Previously on Jeep Roscoe. Okay, so change of plans. Just went to start the car and it was dead. And of course with the name Gwoonwardu, which literally means Wales. How could I not go there? So effectively I would have done another bore in 2 days. Quite famous. Yeah, they really got some nice beaches. So here we are, back in Carnarvon, or just outside of it at least. I wasn't expecting to be back here, certainly not this soon. Just realised that it's a Sunday, so most garages will be open today, which means I'll be here for at least 2 days. Chances are the two garages that are here won't be able to see me tomorrow. If that's the case, then you know I'll potentially be here for a bloody week or longer, but I really don't want that to happen. I'd rather drive back to Geraldton if that was the case. I don't want to turn the car off now because, you know, once I turn it off, that's it. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go for a little lap around town first to see where the garages are and if there's a caravan park closer. If not, then I'll just come back to the plantations one that I know. But yeah, not happy. I'm not happy. There's two holiday parks here, one just to our left we just passed, and then behind the petrol station here is the one that I was staying at before, which is the plantations, Big Four plantations. I know they've got good Wi-Fi and powered sites, and there's a nice site and everything, so I'll probably come back there. But first I want to see where these garages are in relation to there's another one there, Winter Sun. There's another one here on the right, Carnarvon Caravan Park. There's the big banana on the right. Definitely needs to be put in a more prominent place. So I helped a guy with a blown tyre on the way down here. He lives here, and he recommended Auto Pro. He said the other one, Toyota, they would probably cost you an arm and a leg. So. But when he went to Auto Pro, he said he had to wait 2 weeks. I think this might be it on the left, yeah. But yeah, it's not open today. Oddly, I believe there's no McDonald's in Carnarvon, or at least not one that I've seen, which is a good thing, but I thought they were pretty much ubiquitous these days. Toyota garage, if I remember right, was on the right hand side down here. I don't think they'll be open today either, but worth a gander. The other alternative is I go to Repco and I buy the spark plugs and a few more tools and try and do it myself, but then it might not be spark plugs, so I really don't know what to do. I thought changing the spark plugs was going to be a simple job, but I looked it up on YouTube, and it is not simple. It's yeah, it's not. Caravan park here. I think I'm just going to go back to the campsite and see if I can get into a garage tomorrow. I could try a different one, I suppose. Because of course the other thing is, at the moment I can't really fill up with petrol, because as soon as I turn the engine off I'll have to jump start it again. Well, I'm assuming I will. The reason I'm going back to the same campsite is that, as I said, I know that it's a nice place. They got a lot of shade and good Wi-Fi. And a swimming pool. Might have a swim actually. It's 30 degrees today, so yeah, quite warm. So, after quite a dramatic day yesterday where the car wouldn't start up in Nalu, and I had to use my my King's jump starter kit, which worked a treat, by the way. I limped back to Carnarvon, and it's now Monday. It's 7:30. I'm going in search of a mechanic that hopefully will be able to help. But the big question is, will it start? That's a positive. That is a positive. There is an outside chance, of course, that with all the corrugations in the road out to Nardu, that I shook something loose, and then coming back I shook it back tight. I don't know. Anyway, look, I'm still I want to get this squared away before I go anywhere too remote, because you know, worst things can happen and all that. Let's go see if we can find a mechanic. Wish me luck. Once again, leaving the Plantations caravan park in Carnarvon. It is a very nice spot to stay. Remember not to turn the engine off. Feeling quite irritable today. I think it's because I'm anxious. Very anxious. This is what's known as the Fascine in Carnarvon. Is basically a waterfront that's dedicated to HMAS Sydney, which, as you remember previously, was sunk off the shores here towards Dirkartok Island. So all along the coast here, I mean, it's probably the biggest, if not only, naval battle in Australian waters from World War II. I'm going to walk over to that crossing over there. My brain's not working properly this morning. But beautiful beachfront, and then this is the main street heading up that way in Carnarvon. I've managed to basically have my Jeep looked at this morning by Gascoyne mechanics. They've been very good, and basically it's booked in for tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock with hopefully what will be just spark plug changes, but possibly a coil as well. But if it's a coil, they'll have to order that in from overseas because there's not one in the whole of Australia. Brilliant. Anyway, I'm going to make the most of my extra day here in Carnarvon and go and explore. There's also a memorial to the HSK Cormorant, which was the German cruiser that sank as well, but also sank HMAS Sydney along the same stretch of the Fascine, just up a little bit. So here's the footbridge across to Babbage Island. There's a sign at the beginning saying that it is the working bridge, so it goes if a boat needs to come through, the bridge will start turning by itself. So if the siren sounds, you should basically get off the bridge ASAP. Now I'm not sure how much of the bridge moves, because it doesn't look like any of it moves. It might just mean the latter part where the main kind of channel through is, but we'll have a look. And that's the view back down towards where we were, the Fascine, and you can just see there a building with corner on it. That's at the end of the main street. Where I was the other day, so the building down there with grey with blue awnings outside it, that's Carnarvon Hotel, where I went for lunch, and it was bloody lovely. Yeah. I quite like Carnarvon, I have to say. This little part over here, across from this inlet of water, looks quite nice, and I'd imagine is quite an expensive part of town to live in, simply because how the buildings look. Saying that mind, I imagine anywhere on the waterfront around here would be too. Alright, let's head on across and see what we can find. See no evidence anywhere along this bridge of mechanical lifting or sliding sideways or anything like that. So I really don't know whether or not it's still in use or not. But on the other side here we've got this old-fashioned looking station and what remains to be of tram or train tracks. So I imagine that once upon a time a train would have come across there. You can actually see where the tracks have been taken up. But then once again on this side there's a sign. Warning tramway bridge users, bridge opens automatically if siren sounds, blah 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 blah. So I'm curious now. Anyway, according to that sign over there, that's graffitis. There are two islands here, Whitlock and Babbage. So this is obviously Whitlock, and Babbage Island is behind it, much bigger. But I quite like this old-fashioned tram station, to be honest. Quite picturesque. I'm going to take some photos. Just paying a visit to Morales, which I highly recommend as a local producer. Picked up some Chinese spinach, some papaya, and some guava, and they give me a free avocado. And I've also got a red dragon fruit popsicle. It's rather nice. If you're wondering what it's like, it's a little bit like watermelon, but perfumed a little bit, just slightly. Quite refreshing. So whilst I'm waiting for the Jeep to be repaired tomorrow, just enjoying my downtime. Time for a dip in the pool. So it seems that the town of Carnarvon was named after Henry Howard Molyneux Herbert, who was the Secretary of State for the colonies and was the 5th Earl of Carnarvon. So the only tenuous connection to Wales is that the Lord of Carnarvon is named after Carnarvon in Wales. Ergo, the town is named after Wales. That's my logic anyway. Just walking around the town centre this morning as I'm waiting for Delilah to get fixed. So I've just been to the Gwoonwardu Maya, which is the Indigenous Interpretation Centre here in Carnarvon. Very interesting. You're not allowed to photograph or film a lot of it, so I couldn't show you a lot, but I showed you a little bit. But well worth a visit. It's open 9:30 to 3:30 Monday to Friday. Alright, good news everybody. I've got Delilah back. Ben at Gascoyne here in Carnarvon, who has been absolutely fantastic for me, as he's basically replaced the spark plugs, the ignition coil on cylinder 6, which was the problematic one. Who ideally would have changed them all, but there was only one coil available in WA right now. And I've also got a new battery because the other battery was waning a bit. So the next service I'm going to have to replace all the ignition coils. But hopefully, fingers crossed, again, that this will be the last kind of issue mechanical I have with Delilah. One thing to note, mind, he said it's still idling a bit funny, and that could be due, in fact, to the fact I've been putting in the cheapest fuel I can get. Anything with these kind of engines need at least 95 octane, and I've been putting in 90. So the last couple of fill-ups, somebody on a motorbike just going past. The last couple of fill-ups I've been putting in 98, and I'll try wherever possible to keep it in a high octane. But hopefully that's the last I'll see of Carnarvon for now. Today we're going up to Exmouth, where I've got whale shark diving booked in, and hopefully we'll be doing a micro flight as well. Now I'm going to get in the car because these flies are annoying the hell out of me. Okay, so we're just about to leave Carnarvon, hopefully for the last time on this trip. Once again, huge thank you to Gascoyne Mechanics. Gascoyne Auto Services, I think they're probably known as. There'll be a link to them below in the descriptions, by the way. He's also given me a recommendation for an additive to fuel to basically boost the octanes in it, should I only be able to fill up with 91 octane fuel. So I'll be getting some of that. So I just stocked up at the IGA, just a few bits and bobs food wise. I got a full tank from Caltex with the 95 octane, which is the highest they do there, and we're gonna gun it for Exmouth. I told them I'd be arriving around about 3 o'clock. It takes about 3.5 hours drive there apparently, so it's now 10 to 12, so we should be getting there for around about 3:30. I was going to stop off in Coral Bay on the way up, but from what everybody's been telling me recently, I'm going to give it a wide berth because it sounds like a bit of a tourist trap, and it is way over kind of utilized. It's not all that. So yeah, anyway, I've wasted enough time around here, so we need to start putting K's on the map again and get back on schedule. You know, to be fair to the mechanic Ben at Gascoyne Auto Services, he said that Jeeps get a bit of a bad reputation, and he said that's partly brought on themselves by Jeep, as in Jeep's customer service, etc., etc., has been rubbish, which is something that Jeep have publicly acknowledged recently and have pledged to do better. And he said that the other thing is because of lazy mechanics. He said mechanics, especially in Australia, and he was quite candid about this. He said if it's not Toyota, they just don't know what to do, and they just do the basics, and that's that, and get on with it. He said the spark plugs, for example, should have been changed a few services ago, and they weren't. A few bits and bobs like that. We had a good talk about Land Rovers as well, because he's a mad keen Land Rover fan himself. But you know, he said, look, Jeeps are bloody good vehicles, but you've got to basically maintain them, and Australia's not a great place for that because mechanics don't know how to work on them. So you know, that's something to bear in mind, that if we are going to get a service in future, then it's probably best to go to a Jeep dealership. If not a Jeep dealership, then you need to stress to whoever's servicing your vehicle that they need to do X, Y, and Z. They can't just do the basics, you know, because an oil change alone is not going to cut it, frankly, and that shouldn't be the remit of a service, in my opinion. In Australia, you're supposed to service your vehicle every 6 months, so I'm expecting a bloody good service on that, not just an oil change, which he said more often than not has happened. So full credit to Ben at Gascoyne Auto Services. We had a very candid chat. He's going to follow me on YouTube. I'm going to follow him on YouTube. I can't remember the name of his channel at the moment, but I'll put it down below. He goes to the car rallies and things like this, so yeah, good lad. Anyway, let's get on the road. By the way, these are not my normal sunglasses. I have no idea where they are. They're somewhere in the vehicle. When I was getting a bit frustrated with the flies the other day, I kind of chucked them. I think they're down behind the seat somewhere, so I'll have a good look. These are my reserve ones, which are polarized, unlike my Ray-Bans. So I can't look at the my phone screen when I'm wearing these because it's just black ice. So, but they're good for driving because they really do cut the glare of the sun back. I don't know whether or not it's a psychological thing, but I can feel the Jeep is just running a lot smoother now. You know, there's just the noise alone, but the power is just there. You know, it's hard to describe. It's very subtle, but as I say, it might be psychosomatic. I don't know. There we go. Right, I'll catch up with you later on. Even though time to go home. I'm now an Australian citizen, which makes it a lot easier for me to kind of come and go. Obviously, I'm still a British citizen as well, because we get to have dual citizenship. I haven't been home since the start of 2017. I was due to go home in 2020, just before COVID hit. We had the fires on Kangaroo Island. Just going for the last time. Yeah, so I'm working to a very loose schedule now. I wasn't before, but I've decided my trip across Australia is basically going to be a half a lap, in being that I'm going to go up to the top of Northern Territory, across up to the top of Western Australia, across into Northern Territory, and then back south down through Northern Territory, back into South Australia, back to Adelaide. I've got things left in storage in Adelaide, so I want to kind of sort that and ship them to the UK. The question is, what am I going to do with Delilah? Am I going to ship Delilah back to the UK? I want to continue my travels, but I want to do it in the UK, essentially. So yeah, some things I'm going to have to think about between here and Adelaide, but it's now the start of May, and by the end of May I want to be crossing the border into Northern Territory, so it's going to be tight. It might slip a little bit, but that's the kind of loose schedule I'm working to. The kind of loose kind of plan from here is Exmouth until Saturday, which is the 5th, I think, or 5th or the 6th of May. And then from there we're going to go east into the interior to Carragini National Park, with Tom Price, Newman, etc. From there we're going to go up to Port Hedland or Carafa, I haven't decided yet. And then basically we'll be making a beeline for Broome. So in the shortest amount of time I'll be heading to Broome. In Broome there's a few things I want to do. The biggest one at the moment is the horizontal falls. Unfortunately, there's only one company at the moment that is operating tours to horizontal falls, which actually allows you to go through the falls, and they're fully booked until July. So I contacted them yesterday to ask if I can be put on a waiting list. I'm still waiting to hear back from them, but that's like the really big thing I want to do up north. But if I can't do that, then I won't be hanging around Broome for that long, because there are a few things in Broome, don't get me wrong. I've always wanted to go to Broome, see the camels on Cable Beach and the stairway to heaven and all this, but the surroundings of Broome will be more of a draw to me. So the Dampier Peninsula, Derby, and I can't remember the name of the place at the moment. Lavanc, I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, and then we're on to the Gibb River Road, which is a big part of this trip I want to do. I have been told repeatedly that I need at least 2 spare tyres for Gibb River Road. By half the people I meet, and then the other half tell me, look, you'll be fine as long as you drive to the conditions. I will be letting my tyres down, I will be driving slowly, I will be, watching where I'm going. I've kind of made a slight agreement with myself that by the time I get to Broome, I'm going to check the tyres that I've got on at the moment, which are Cooper's Discovery all-terrain tyres. And if they're looking at all a little bit worse for wear, then I'm going to change the tyres to mud tyres or brand new Coopers. I
next week on Jeep Roscoe.
Okay, so we made it, just checked in. I don't really like staying at big places like this. We're staying here. Look at all of these. So yeah, this is as far up as I'm gonna go